But not only are plants important for history, of course, plants are an excellent model for basic science. I want to give 3 examples of scientists who use plants as their model systems. The first one here, and I hope you can recognize him, it's Charles Darwin. Now, you all know Darwin from evolutionary theory, but you'll be surprised to know that for much of his life, Darwin carried out research on plants, and we're going to use Darwin quite often and his works in this class. Actually, the last 20, 30 years of his life, Darwin only studied plants and plant movements. And Darwin was one of the first people to ask the question, what does a plant see? This second person here, I think you might recognize him also. That's Gregor Mendel, the father of modern genetics. You know, this monk and his peas really founded the basis of all modern genetic research, which affects not only agriculture, but also modern medicine. Barbara McClintock was a botanist. She got her PhD in plant biology in botany. She did a huge amount of work in cytogenetics. She discovered many, many of the modern principles of genetics. Most importantly, in the early 1950s, she discovered something called transposons. Barbara McClintock discovered that pieces of DNA can move in the genome. And this was going against the whole paradigm that the genome was immutable, it was unchangeable. Unfortunately, her work wasn't accepted in that time. She was actually quite derided for her ideas, and she stopped publishing on it. Now, you could say maybe this is because she was a woman, maybe because the idea was so new, maybe it's because she was a plant biologist. But the kicker to this is, in 1983, she got the Nobel Prize for her finding. She's the only woman to receive the Nobel Prize in medicine on her own without anyone else joining in with her. Because we know that what she discovered using corn in the early 50s is now the basis for many of the cancers that humans get. So we could see here that plants are not only important for history, they're not only important for what we breathe, but they're important for all of biology. And the reason for this is that plants are part of the tree of life. 2 billion years ago, and we'll get into this a bit later in the class, both animals and plants originated from the same unicellular organisms. So much of the biology that we find in animals is also shared with plants. And we'll be talking about that quite a lot in this course. The other reason for studying plants is that they are a unique biological system. If you look at all of these beautiful plants that we see around us, flowers, trees, cactuses, it's just wonderful. It's amazing. How do we make a flower? Or how do plants make flowers? How do we make these beautiful symmetrical things? How does a sequoia tree manage to get the water from its roots up almost 100 meters into the ground? We look at this flower here, it's over 1 meter in diameter. Whereas this tree growing in Yosemite National Park survives with very, very little water. How do they manage to do this? These are incredible biological questions that plant scientists are asking today, some of which we're going to talk about during the course.